Okay, what we're looking at is bottom part of the steering. The old Massy Ferguson, Massey Ferguson 275. I just finished putting batteries in the thing, and I had to take both the batteries out so that I could get down to the steering column. So what's happening is we have complete hydraulic steering on these things. As you can see, the cylinder there. And there's no mechanical steering on this tractor, so what you have to worry about with that is you need to keep the cylinder and the hoses and everything complete. Okay, the steering went out in the field, so this is a job that's done in the grass. The idea is to get the dirt off. The grass won't matter getting into it. And it's also a matter of putting it back the same way I took it apart. So this pin goes in this direction, and what happened when I took this thing off, and I might need a hammer, this piece got in the way, so when I tried pounding this pin up, I bent the threads here, and I had to get a new piece for this. So I got this new elbow, I've got the cylinder rebuilt, and see here, both these pipes were connected to the main hose. Both of them were old. This is steering, so you don't want anything to go wrong with it. I'm on a hills quite a bit, and if the steering goes out, I could go down the side of a mountain. So since one part of it was wrong, I figured I'd fix everything to make it like new. The good thing about taking this thing off is that this spline has a space in it, so it is timed, and you can't put it on wrong. Okay, let me turn this thing off before I start cussing again. Okay, one of the important aspects of this is to wipe off the inside of the spline. We have a rubber seal that I just now found. Apparently comes out. Okay, I went back and got some old greasy rags, dirty rags, clean up around here. There's a seal this thing rides on, and I'd rather not mess it up. So we have this ring that goes on it, and I lost that rubber seal somewhere. So I have to take this thing back off. Okay, try this for a third time. Third time's a charm. Yeah, if you're afraid to get grease on your hands, this is not a job for anyone to do. That seal I laid down there apparently is not allowing this to fit down to the bottom. Pull it up for a fourth time. Pull it out, and I'm gonna go get some grease. This seal right here is falling to the bottom and going in cockeyed, and it's not allowing it to go down. Just wipe it off with my hands and then use a rag to wipe my hands off. Pack that little space where the O-ring, or I should say big flat ring, goes into it with grease. And I probably should have packed everything with grease, but I didn't. Actually, I'm going to have to wipe off extra grease again. What that's going to do is it's going to keep that flat ring in place. Now we have these two rings, that one, and this ring here is what holds that up. Let's see if I can't get my knee up underneath it. Shove it upwards. There we go. I think I got it all locked in. And you need one of these tools right here, a heavy duty one, to do this job. Just a straight pin that drops in right here to lock this in place. And then supposedly this piece of metal was tacked in place with welding to hold that pin down. Okay, while the batteries aren't in it and while I don't have anything else hooked up, I'm going to go ahead and add some grease to this thing, or at least I think I am. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pumps of grease. 9 and 10. But hey, that's why you keep all your old dirty rags. So you can go in. Oops, wrong rag. That was my semi-clean rag. Past tense, now I got 2 dirty rags. I went with the longest hose because it was the last one I was able to get off from here. I snugged it down, hand tight here, and I'm going to hand tight on this side. Okay, so when you start these pieces right up here, this would be the steering pump, or steering pump control rather. This goes up to the steering wheel. What'll happen is these nuts here can slide back and you won't get them in, so you have to be able to pull this pipe out and push this nut up towards it. And then you want to, actually I've already gotten this thing too tight, but you want at least 3 or 4 turns on it before you go messing with the other end, otherwise you can strip it out. And you also want to always do it by hand first. So yeah, not the right wrench for it. I'll go get the right wrench. Okay, got the right wrench now. And it doesn't matter because there's not enough space to turn it, so I gotta just stick with what I got. Just a regular 11/16 open-end wrench. So I'm just gonna tighten it down as good as I can get. And that'll just have to do. And cross my fingers it doesn't leak. Okay, up underneath these elbows, you gotta turn them where you want them. And then there's this little lock nut underneath them, and you have to lock them down. And I got another problem. There's a bar that goes right across here. I gotta put it in first apparently. Negative side out. And they came out so easily. Should have known better. Another thing to look for is battery cables that are all worn out. Okay, and then just put the cap. This is the pump. If you have a problem with it, I strongly advise just taking it off and taking it to a hydraulic shop. You can get kits for it, but don't always advise it, especially when the steering is important. And that pretty much concludes the steering on the Massy Ferguson 275, and it's just a matter of putting the thing back together again.